Jim Keltner, a legendary drummer whose work has defined the sound of rock, pop, and blues for decades, has always been a behind-the-scenes powerhouse. From recording with the likes of John Lennon, Bob Dylan, and George Harrison to shaping the grooves of some of the most iconic tracks in music history, Keltner's talent has left an indelible mark. Yet despite decades of collaboration with the world's best musicians, he has remained remarkably humble, rarely sharing personal opinions or favorites. Now, at the age of 83, Jim Keltner has finally broken his silence, revealing the 7 guitarists who have inspired him the most throughout his remarkable career. For music fans, this is not just a list, it's a rare glimpse into the mind of one of the most influential drummers of all time. A peek behind the curtain of decades spent creating magic, with some of the greatest names in music history. From pioneering techniques to unforgettable riffs, these guitarists shaped not only the sound of their era, but also the drumming, musical choices, and artistic sensibilities of Keltner himself. Each name on the list tells a story, reflecting his personal journey, the evolution of music, and the moments in which he found inspiration that would influence his work for generations. This revelation is both nostalgic and illuminating. Fans now have insight into the artists who shaped a musical legend, gaining a deeper understanding of the connections, collaborations, and influences that define the soundtrack of modern music. At 83, Jim Keltner's reflections remind the world that true artistry is built on inspiration, respect, and the musicians who leave a lasting imprint not just on the audience, but on each other. Jim Keltner is a name that might not immediately be recognized by casual music fans, but his impact on the music world is undeniable. As one of the most sought-after session drummers in history, Keltner has worked with an array of legendary artists, from John Lennon and George Harrison to Bob Dylan, Eric Clapton, and beyond. His drumming has defined the rhythm behind countless iconic songs, shaping the sound of multiple generations of music. Yet despite this staggering career, Keltner has always remained humble, quietly contributing his talents without seeking the spotlight. Now, at 83, Keltner has opened up in a way he rarely has before, revealing the 7 guitarists who have inspired him most throughout his career. For fans, this is a treasure trove of insight, a rare chance to see which artists influenced the mind of a man who has worked alongside some of the greatest musicians in history. These guitarists are not just technical masters, they are storytellers, innovators, and creators whose music informed Keltner's own approach to rhythm, timing, and collaboration. Reflecting on his career, Keltner notes that each guitarist shaped his understanding of music differently. Some taught him the power of restraint, demonstrating that less can often be more. Others inspired him with sheer technical brilliance, forcing him to raise his own standards behind the drums. And many of them were collaborators, musicians whose synergy with him on stage or in the studio produced moments of musical magic that remain timeless today. The first few names Keltner shared immediately reveal the breadth of his influences. Each guitarist represents not just a style or genre, but a philosophy of music, a way of thinking about rhythm, melody, and emotion. These were artists who pushed boundaries, challenged conventions, and inspired those around them, including Keltner himself. By naming these guitarists, he isn't simply paying tribute to their talent. He's highlighting the moments in his own journey when he felt truly inspired, when a riff, a chord progression, or a solo sparked creativity that informed his own performances for decades. Keltner has been the anchor behind songs that fans know and love. His drumming may not always be front and center, but it is the foundation upon which countless masterpieces were built. Now, as he reflects at 83, he is giving fans a glimpse into his musical mind, revealing the artistry and inspiration that drove his lifelong passion. It is a rare act of generosity from someone who has spent a lifetime elevating the music of others, quietly shaping history one beat at a time. This chapter of Keltner's story is about more than just favorite guitarists. It is a reflection on decades of collaboration, inspiration, and artistry. By sharing these names, he allows the world to connect the dots between his influences and the incredible music he helped create. Fans gain not only insight into Keltner's mind, but also a renewed appreciation for the interconnectedness of music, how drummers, guitarists, and all musicians inspire one another to reach new heights. At 83, Jim Keltner stands as a testament to the quiet power of influence and the lasting impact of artistry. And now, for the first time, fans can see which 7 guitarists shaped not only the sound of music history, but also the mind of a man who dedicated his life to perfecting the rhythm that made it all possible. Jim Keltner's list of favorite guitarists isn't just a collection of names, it's a roadmap of his musical journey, a glimpse into the artists who shaped the way he approached rhythm, timing, and collaboration over decades. At 83, Keltner reflects not only on the technical brilliance of these guitarists, but also on the moments in which their creativity pushed him to elevate his own playing. The second set of guitarists on Keltner's list represents a mixture of innovation, emotional depth, and a keen sense of musical storytelling. Unlike the first group, whose influence often shaped his early style and foundational techniques, these musicians inspired him to explore nuance and subtlety. Keltner recalls working with one guitarist whose phrasing was so precise and melodic that it forced him to rethink his approach to dynamics in drumming. Every strike, every cymbal crash, had to complement the music without overpowering it, a lesson in restraint and musical sensitivity. Collaboration stories abound in Keltner's reflections. He vividly remembers studio sessions where a guitarist's riff would spark improvisation that defined an entire track. In one notable example, he was recording with a guitar legend whose improvisational solo seemed effortless, yet was layered with intricate rhythms and phrasing. Watching this unfold in real time taught Keltner the importance of listening, reacting, and becoming one with the music, rather than merely keeping time. These lessons became integral to his drumming style, contributing to the signature groove and feel that made him a go-to session drummer for decades. Keltner also notes that these guitarists inspired him to embrace versatility. Some could switch effortlessly between blues, rock, and jazz, challenging him to adapt his drumming to each style seamlessly. He explains that observing their technique taught him that great music isn't about dominating a track, it's about understanding space, tension, and release. The way a guitarist bends a note or adds a subtle chord change can completely alter the feel of a song, and a drummer must respond accordingly. Personal anecdotes further reveal the profound influence these guitarists had on Keltner's career. From late-night jam sessions to high-pressure studio recordings, their creativity and dedication left a lasting imprint. One memory that stands out involves a collaborative session where Keltner and a guitarist traded improvisational ideas for hours, creating a track that would later be remembered as a classic. It was in these moments that Keltner realized the true power of musical synergy. When drummer and guitarist communicate intuitively, music transcends the individual and becomes something far greater. These second-tier guitarists also reinforce the importance of emotional expression in music. Keltner emphasizes that technical skill alone is not enough. The ability to convey feeling, nuance, and storytelling through guitar inspires him to do the same behind the drum kit. Every subtle pick, slide, or chord change reminds him that the drummer's role is not just rhythmic, it is expressive, complementary, and crucial to the overall mood of a song. Through these experiences, Keltner's drumming evolved into a deeply responsive art form, shaped as much by listening as by playing. These guitarists didn't just influence him, they taught him to become a better musician, collaborator, and interpreter of music. At 83, reflecting on these names and memories, Keltner realizes how interconnected music truly is. Every note, every beat, every riff builds on inspiration shared among artists across decades. By highlighting this second group of guitarists, Keltner shows that musical greatness is rarely achieved in isolation. It is forged through collaboration, observation, and mutual respect. These lessons shaped not only his career but also the countless tracks and performances that continue to define his legacy in the music world. As Jim Keltner nears the conclusion of his list of 7 favorite guitarists, the significance of these final names is clear. They represent not just technical skill, but artistry, emotion, and the profound ability to inspire. At 83, Keltner reflects on the influence these guitarists had on his drumming, his approach to music, and the way he collaborated with some of the greatest artists of his era. The last few guitarists on Keltner's list are those whose creativity consistently pushed him to explore new territory. He recounts sessions where a guitarist's phrasing, tone, or rhythmic choices completely changed the energy of a track. One memory stands out, recording a song where a subtle slide on the guitar introduced a tension Keltner hadn't anticipated. The drummer responded instinctively, adjusting his beat to complement the guitarist's phrasing, resulting in a rhythm that became the he. Drumming, creating music that resonates on both a technical and emotional level. Anecdotes from decades of collaboration highlight the deep connection Keltner shared with these musicians. He recalls late-night jam sessions where hours of improvisation turned into unforgettable grooves. He speaks of studio encounters where a guitarist's unexpected chord progression challenged him to adapt instantly, demonstrating the kind of spontaneous creativity that defines legends. Each of these experiences left a lasting impression, shaping not only his drumming, but his philosophy of music, that true artistry comes from listening, responding, and connecting with others in a shared musical language. Keltner also emphasizes the humility and dedication of these guitarists. Despite their incredible talent, they approached every session with focus and respect for the music and the musicians around them. Witnessing this inspired Keltner to elevate his own professionalism, understanding that the mark of a great musician lies not only in skill but in attitude, collaboration, and passion. The final names on his list reflect both admiration and gratitude. Keltner acknowledges how each guitarist influenced specific aspects of his career, from early recordings to the collaborative projects with legendary artists like George Harrison and Bob Dylan. Their styles challenged him, taught him, and inspired him to refine his craft continually. At 83, Keltner looks back on these relationships with reverence, recognizing that his own success is intertwined with the brilliance of the musicians who shaped his path through this list. Jim Keltner offers more than a personal ranking. He provides insight into the interconnected nature of music, how drummers, guitarists, and other artists influence each other across decades. It is a testament to the power of collaboration, the enduring impact of inspiration, and the joy of creating music that transcends individual talent. As Keltner reflects on these final guitarists, it is clear that his drumming career and the countless iconic recordings he contributed to were shaped by a deep respect for artistry, an appreciation for collaboration, and an unending curiosity. At 83, sharing this list is not merely nostalgia. It is a celebration of the musicians who taught him, challenged him, and helped him become the legendary drummer the world has come to admire. At 83, Jim Keltner's reflections on his 7 favorite guitarists are more than a list. They are a window into a lifetime of music, collaboration, and artistry. Each name represents a spark of inspiration, a lesson learned, and a memory that helped shape one of the most prolific drumming careers in modern music. But beyond the individual guitarists, the story is ultimately about Keltner himself, the way he absorbed these influences and transformed them into his own unique voice behind the drums. Throughout his career, Keltner has been the quiet force behind some of the most iconic songs of the last half-century. From the subtle grooves on John Lennon's solo recordings to the complex, nuanced rhythms on George Harrison and Bob Dylan tracks, his drumming was always about serving the song, complementing the music, and enhancing the emotional impact. It is this humility and musical sensitivity that allowed him to thrive alongside so many incredible guitarists. He listened, adapted, and responded not to overshadow, but to elevate, creating music that feels organic and timeless. Looking back, Keltner acknowledges how the guitarists he named not only inspired him technically, but also shaped his philosophy of music. He learned that a drummer's role is about communication, intuition, and musical empathy. Observing a guitarist's phrasing, dynamics, and improvisational instincts taught him how to anticipate, respond, and sometimes even lead without speaking a word. This dialogue between instruments, between musicians, is what gives recordings their life, and Keltner's career is a testament to that intricate interplay. Moreover, his favorite guitarists reinforced the importance of creativity and innovation. They challenged conventions, explored new sonic territories, and refused to be confined by genre. Keltner absorbed this mindset, bringing it into every studio session and stage performance. His ability to adapt to rock, blues, jazz, and pop sessions alike is a direct reflection of the lessons learned from these masters. By integrating their influence, he became a drummer who could not only keep time, but also contribute to the soul of the music itself. Keltner's reflections also highlight a broader truth about legacy. It is never created in isolation. Great music is built on inspiration, collaboration, and mutual respect. Every beat he played, every track he elevated, was informed by the musicians he admired and worked with. Naming these 7 guitarists is, in a sense, a celebration of that interconnected network of artistry, a recognition that his career and influence were shaped as much by others' genius as by his own. For fans and musicians alike, Keltner's list provides insight into how inspiration travels through generations. The music he helped create was informed by the brilliance of others, and in turn, his drumming continues to inspire contemporary artists around the world. His story serves as a reminder that artistry is a living, evolving dialogue where every note, riff, and beat builds upon what came before. In the end, Jim Keltner's legacy is not only in the legendary tracks he helped bring to life, but in the lessons he shares about listening, adapting, and collaborating with heart. At 83, reflecting on his favorite guitarists is more than nostalgia. It is a celebration of music, mentorship, and the enduring power of inspiration. Through these reflections, we see the rhythm of a lifetime, a career defined not just by talent, but by respect for fellow musicians, passion for craft, and a devotion to creating music that resonates across time. Keltner's story reminds us all that music is a conversation, a journey, and a legacy. And through it, the influence of those 7 guitarists and countless others continues to echo in every beat, every groove, and every song he has helped bring to life.